There were some good things that came out of the game. I thought as the game went on, our defense continued to play stronger and stronger and really keep us in the game. We had an opportunity to make some plays, especially in the first half, that could have gotten us on the board. Offensively, we didn't make those plays, and in order for us to take advantage of the defense playing as well as they did, we needed to make those plays. I thought special teams, we held our own in special teams. There wasn't anything that was particularly decisive for either team in terms of having an advantage in the special teams area. So, offensively, played two quarterbacks, played a lot of young players at one time. We did have three offensive linemen that were true freshmen in the game. And so we're gathering experience as we go on. And I think the offensive unit, as I mentioned prior to the start of the season, is a unit that will get better as the season goes on. They're kind of a work in progress, but I do like their potential. That's both. Obviously, if you're going to win football games with any kind of regularity, you do need to win the turnover ratio. That means defensively, you've got to produce some. Offensively, you got to take care of the ball. So that is a disappointment from both ends of it. I would like to think so. Generally that does happen to where there becomes some balance as the season goes on in terms of takeaways, and so we need to obviously step that into the game up. I think at times we tackle better. Now, we did miss some tackles that would have been helpful in this game. Most of them were behind the line of scrimmage that would have caused them to be in long yardage situations instead of scrambling and gathering a first. And so those missed tackles were very costly to us. But overall, we've been a better tackling football team. And, you have opportunities to try to strip the ball, but, you've got to be careful on how that all works, because if you're going in to tackle and strip at the same time, generally you're not productive on your tackle. And so what we're doing is the first guy needs to bring him down, and other people that are coming needs to then try to strip the ball, and then in position to make interceptions. Sometimes that comes from pressure on the quarterback, and he's throwing it up for grabs. So although we did have 5 sacks, I believe it was, in the game, which is huge, I think. So we're putting people in long yardage situations, but we got to get more production on that end of it. And then offensively, I thought it was a much cleaner ball game by us offensively, but again, we lose the turnover ratio. What was it, 1-0? Yeah. I think there's a way to make an attempt at doing that, and I think we will as we continue to go through the season. You look at that ball game, and we had a big opportunity with Daz early in the game on a long throw. He's really a good receiver and generally will make those catches. Those are the kind of things that we have got to make work for us. We had a receiver that was wide open. We overthrow him a little later in the ball game, but still early enough to where we get points on the board there, and more than likely touchdowns on the board there. That's a whole different ball game. And so we got to understand as an offense, when we have a explosive play, big play, a potential, we have got to produce, and then we've got to find a way to gather first downs and also along the way, and that is then contributing to your offense being on the field a lot, giving your defense more time on the sideline, which is what every team is after. We will name a starter here very quickly, and we actually know who's starting. We just want to make sure that information is given to our players. You know, Sunday is a day off for our players. So today, when they come in, will be the first time that we've visited with them since the game, and so there's a lot of communication that has to go on at a lot of different positions. So usually on Monday, not really anxious to say too much about any types of changes. And we're not the type of program or coaches that will, because of a bad series, because of a bad half, what have you, just eliminate all the good that a player has done in fall camp. And in Darius's case, played very well in the very first ball game. The thing that did happen was we got two quarterbacks that are going to be important to us as we go through the season, two quarterbacks playing time. And so that you know, where we're at in terms of starting quarterback will be declared later today. I think it would be good for both guys to be able to play. I don't know that that's just the route that we'll necessarily go down. You know, if a guy is having a great game, you probably don't interrupt that great game. You know, you let him finish it, or at least continue. And so, you know, we haven't necessarily promised, and that's one thing I'm very careful at, is not promising a player specific playing time amount or that he'll go in after so many series, because once that's broken, then that trust level's not there. And so I'm very careful about that and very slow to go down that avenue. Well, you know, Marshall obviously is got a football team that's very talented football team, really in all phases of the game, and so we won't have to gather our guys' attention to do it, but getting it done is another matter. You know, we're going to have to obviously play really sound defense. We can't have a breakdown here or there. We gave up a big play in the running game that scored on us against Kentucky, and that was just a breakdown, just a gap responsibility. That it wasn't talent; it was just a matter of gap responsibility. And so, those are the kind of things when you're facing a football team that's very explosive, you can't afford to have happen. You know, you can't give them the easy touchdown, and so our guys will know that, and they'll work very hard to keep that from happening. Obviously, they're very talented in both the running and the throwing game, so. And they have a quarterback that can do both, run and throw, so that complicates things. Well, that's a good question. I think we've been pretty sound in what we've done against them. I think this is probably their best team that we've faced, maybe in our time here, as far as the staff is concerned. And so this will be maybe an even bigger challenge than what it's been. Obviously can't let them have the big plays, and if you can force them into not getting explosive plays and having to stay on the field, and earn everything that they get, then you're doing all that you can. I think our football team is capable of being that kind of a defensive football team, but obviously we've shown signs every now and then of giving up explosive plays. So, you just can't let that happen with any kind of consistency and think you'll play well enough to win the game. Yeah, that's all important to us. This rivalry is important. I think both football teams recognize that, and it certainly is important, I think, also to our fans and as well as the Marshall fans. This is a rivalry that goes back a number of years. A lot of great football players have played in this rivalry, and so we recognize that, and obviously we want to hold up our end of the bargain when it comes to this being a rivalry. They've been hard-fought ball games. They've been games that early on that we weren't able to find a way to win. I think the last so many years we've been able to find a way to win the game. But they've all been tremendously competitive football games for the most part. You know, it's a rarity to not have it be a competitive game, and it doesn't seem to matter where that game is played. You know, we played them once in a bowl game. We, you know, played them there at their place, here at our place. If you know, and those games are generally all extremely competitive football games, and so I think that is also something that leads to the rivalry in terms of, you know, players, fans, and everybody getting excited about that's what this game's all about. You know, you've got to have the right kind of frame of mind as far as your football team is concerned. You've got to accept those challenges and be willing to accept those challenges if you're going to be a good football team at all. And so we knew what we were facing going into the season. We've accepted that. You know, I don't see it being a problem for us to be able to handle that. You know, we just need to make sure we execute well in order to, you know, have a chance to get this thing done. It's been loud, you know, and you know, they I think they appreciate good football in Huntington, and so the rivalry obviously means something to their fans as well, and so, you know, they'll be in the stands and they'll be loud, and so that's a great college atmosphere as far as I'm concerned for both teams.